Hari Om friends, welcome once again to Sanatan Dunya, your spiritual home. In this video, I shall be giving my commentary on the 8th sloka of Dakshinamurti Stotram. Dakshinamurti Stotram is a composition and spiritual work of wisdom by Adi Shankaracharya, who is one of the greatest masters of Sanatan Dharma and mainly as far as Advaita Vedanta is concerned. For those of you who have not yet listened to my commentaries on the 5 introductory prayers of this Dakshinamurti Stotram and the previous slokas of this work, I suggest you listen to them before continuing with this video. These videos are available in the video section of my channel and also in the playlist section of this channel in the playlist titled Adi Shankaracharya's Works of Vedantic Wisdom and Dakshinamurti Stotram with commentary in English, 11 parts. Before I go ahead and give my commentary on the 8th sloka of Dakshinamurti Stotram, I have a small request to make. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, then I suggest you do so that you may be updated about forthcoming videos uploaded to this channel. So let's move on. The 8th sloka of the Dakshinamurti Stotram is as follows. He who is the Purusha, world and Maya, sees the world of cause and effect, diversely related as possessor and possession, father and son, and as teacher and taught, both in the state of waking and dreaming. To him, the divine teacher Sri Dakshinamurti is this prostration. Every soul of all the creatures of this creation go through 3 states of consciousness, namely waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. In the waking state, the soul as the jiva experiences the world of gross names and forms. In the dreaming state, the soul as the jiva experiences the subtle names and forms. And in deep sleep, the soul experiences a complete darkness in which the gross world of names and forms and the subtle world of names and forms is absent. For the time being and temporarily, all souls transcend the creation during deep sleep. This soul or self that experiences these 3 states of consciousness is also called Purusha. Basically, there are only 2 things in creation: matter and spirit. Matter is called Prakriti or nature, and spirit is called Purusha or self or consciousness. Actually, from the standpoint of the absolute truth, there is no creation at all. And likewise, the 3 states of consciousness are also illusory and they arise only due to ignorance. This entire creation of names and forms that we experience in the waking state is false and illusory. Our non-apprehension of the truth or reality leads to misapprehension of the reality. Although the creation seen in the waking state does not truly exist anywhere, it is experienced to be real and lively due to the ignorance of the self on the part of the jiva. An oft-repeated illustration in Vedanta for the unreality of the world is snake in a rope. In a dimly lit place, if one mistakes a rope lying on the ground to be a snake, then there will be fear and the rope shall continue to appear as a snake until the rope is recognized as a rope. Similarly, on account of beginningless ignorance of one's own self, the jiva seemingly experiences a world of names and forms in the waking state and believes that all this is real. As one keeps on practicing sadhana, seva, and satsang and maintains evenness of mind under all circumstances, then eventually, after many births of practice, this ignorance caused due to the Maya power of Brahman shall be dispelled and the self shall be experienced as a singular reality devoid of any names and forms and diversity. After attaining self-realization, the realized soul shall only experience the self or consciousness or God everywhere. For him there shall no longer appear any world of names and forms, whether the gross world of the waking state or the subtle world of the dream state. So here in this sloka, Adi Shankara is saying that an average soul, particularly a human soul, being whirled in Maya, sees a world of diversity and sees all sorts of relations to himself in the world and believes all of this to be real and factual. This is because he is whirled in Maya. Maya is that inexplicable power of Brahman which makes the non-existent appear to be real and existent. Likewise, the same Maya power, due to its Avarna Shakti or veiling power, covers the knowledge of the self, and due to its Vikshepa Shakti or projecting power, projects a world of names and forms for a soul to experience during the waking and dream states. Three very clear examples or effects of this Maya Shakti are being mentioned here by Adi Shankara in this verse. We shall explore them one by one. First, Adi Shankara speaks of the relationship between possessor and possession, experienced due to the soul being whirled in Maya. Possession of things is an illusion. We are not inert bodies, but we are consciousness or self or Brahman. Brahman is spirit, and spirit never owns or possesses anything. It is mainly due to this reason that all the realized masters have advised us to live only with a few possessions and not hoard an enormous amount of wealth and objects which will cloud our vision with greed, lust, and materialism. I always say that money is innocent, it is greed which is the culprit. Face it, we all need money for our survival and maintenance. But to pursue money endlessly until the end of one's life with no thought of God or spiritual realization is tantamount to committing spiritual suicide. Thus, the masters advise us to earn only that much amount of money as will be necessary for us to survive in the world, and to spend as much time as possible in pursuing sadhana, seva, and satsang, so that slowly and steadily we can progress towards the ultimate goal of life, namely self-realization. Also, towards whatever wealth and comforts we may possess, we must only have them as utilities and not believe them to be ours. The sense of I and mine should not be present in us. That is important. For the more we believe ourselves to be in possession of wealth and luxuries, the more we shall become attached to them and start to live a life steeped in ignorance and materialism. Therefore, our motto should be simple living and high thinking. Likewise, just as it is necessary to be detached from our possessions and not consider ourselves to be their possessor, it is also important for us to be detached from all our bodily relations. All of us are spirit souls and have bodies as tools which shall be with us only until the point of death. We are not the body. How then can we say that this is my father, this is my mother, this is my brother, this is my wife, etc.? All these relations are with respect to the body, which we are not. I am not the body, but I am spirit soul. Likewise, my mother is not the body, she is also spirit soul. My father is not the body, he is also spirit soul. My wife or life partner is not his or her body, but a spirit soul. All of us are likewise not our respective bodies, but we are all spirit soul. Therefore, what is the relationship between one soul and another soul? How can I say that this person is my mother or father or brother or sister? We are all homogeneous souls, and there is no relationship between one soul and another soul. All relationships exist at the body level only, and since the body is not us, there is no relationship between any two souls of this creation. Hence, all relationships are illusory, temporary, and false. All that exists is Brahman or God or the Self. Apart from the Self or God or consciousness, there is nobody else here in the whole creation. God alone exists. Ekam eva advitiyam Brahma, which means Brahman alone exists, one without a second. Finally, Adi Shankara says, to him the divine teacher Sri Dakshinamurti is this prostration. I have already commented in the previous videos about prostration and its importance. The more we prostrate with devotional bhava or feeling to our Sadgurus and Ishtadevtas, the more we shall get the fuel of inspiration and strength to pursue the spiritual path until the very end of our lives. Prostrations to Sri Krishna, to Sri Shankaracharya, to Sri Dakshinamurti, and to all the masters of Sanatan Dharma and other religions of the world. So friends, here ends my commentary on the 8th sloka of Dakshinamurti Stotram. I shall be coming up with commentaries on the following slokas of this work in the days to come. So stay tuned to this channel, and if you like this commentary, then hit the like button. Also, kindly subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so that you may be updated about forthcoming videos uploaded to this channel. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day ahead. Hari Om.